Kayla Harrison looks to go up against Holly Holm at 300. What do you think her path to success is in this matchup?
Well, the main key for what I think people might not know or understand is that Kayla has never ever been close to 135 pounds in her entire life. As a judoka, she competed at 170 pounds.
Is she going to be healthy? That's insane.
So I
That
think I
is
think
a
Kayla's
drastic.
first battle in this fight is actually making the weight and actually making the weight in a safe manner. So she competed at 170 pounds in judo. She's two-time Olympic champion, gold medalist at 17. It's actually 172 pounds. In MMA, they made a special weight class for her at 155, which was a stretch. For the PFL, made a 155 division. That's the division that Kayla dominated in the PFL.
Right.
They then made the weight go down to 145. So Kayla's only actually fought at like 145 twice in her life. And it was a struggle to get to 145.
Jeez.
But unfortunately, the UFC only has a 135 division. They have no division at 145 at all for women. People don't know, Kayla has hypoglycemia as well. So if her blood sugars get low and her electrolytes are off, she's not the same athlete. So her biggest struggle is going to be making the weight, making it safely, and being able to recover from that weight cut. If she can do it, then Kayla's a significantly bigger, stronger, more powerful opponent than Holly is. I'm not saying striking wise because Holly's an amazing striker, but
Right.
I don't think people realize just how physically strong Kayla is. As once she grabs you, it's not like a two-time Olympic champion in the sport is vastly different than
Yeah.
even a Ronda Rousey. Kayla was an extremely powerful, strong, posture-driven, big takedown girl in judo. She dominated the judo world for many years. Ronda was a finesseful player, but she didn't dominate the judo scene ever. She was a bronze medalist in
Right.
the Olympics. She took a silver medal in the Worlds, but her judo career was very short because she retired really, really young. Ronda, if she had stayed with the sport and gone on in her mid-20s, she probably would have become that dominant athlete. But she retired at
Right.
21, 22 years old. But Kayla's a super powerful, strong. When she grabs you, it's intimidating. Even for a man, it's
Yeah.
intimidating. The question is, will
When
she
she
still have that same strength and power at 135 pounds? If so, when she grabs Holly Holm, she will get her to the ground. She will smash her. Question is, can she close the distance and can she avoid the kicks and the strikes to get there? And if so, if
yeah,
this
when
becomes a
she
grappling match, Kayla will dominate the match on the ground.
when she fought Aspen Ladd and grabbed her and just picked her up like she was a grocery bag. I mean, had her upside down and on the ground, and literally it looked like it was of no effort from her at all. And that's not to sleep on Aspen Ladd as a competitor too, right? That was just an impressive display. I'm so excited for that fight. That's really interesting. I did not know that was her the distance between her fighting weight, because that means if she's fighting at 170 in judo, she's also not walking around at 170, right? Like that's
Well, she pretty
her
much
cut
walked
weight.
around at her weight. At 170, she walked around.
Okay.
She walked around at that weight realistically. So 155 wasn't a big. She could lose 15 pounds, but now we're talking about 35 pounds lower than her fighting weight. That's a big stretch. And in fact, she did her lean body mass test a couple months ago, and her lean body mass is 138. So the only way to get down to 35 is to actually your body has to eat itself, to get down to 135.
Yeah, and then you're dealing with strength trade-offs and performance trade-offs, and
So that's the
wow,
biggest struggle.
that's
If
going
we
to
can
be a
make the weight safely, effectively, I don't blame Kayla for trying and doing it because at the end of the day, she said to me, I want to be. I was Olympic champion in judo. The Olympics is the biggest stage of the sport of judo, right? The Olympic Games, and I was two-time gold medalist in the Olympics. I was PFL champion twice, and I'm world champion in the PFL. But the biggest biggest organization in MMA is the UFC. I want to be world
100%.
title holder in the UFC, bar none. And that's because I want to prove to everybody that I am the best in the world in the sport of MMA. And the only way to prove that is to win in the UFC. She could make a lot more money staying with the PFL. They were going to pay her more money and she'd have a long contract, but nobody would ever see her fight on the big stage and no one would ever see her win the UFC title. And it's kind of like you play football in the NFL or you play football in the Canadian Football League. Everybody knows that if you're not Super Bowl champion in the NFL, you weren't the best football player that ever played. So she wants to do that in MMA. She's 32 years old, so 33 now. So she doesn't have much time left. It's now or never. So she took the shot.